Hello everyone, and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Cade, joined with Keith.
Yep, that's me.
And today we are going to be going over the, completely worldwide hit that is literally, at the moment, the most watched thing ever on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, it is 111 million people have watched Squid Game.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been out, basically a month?
So they only release the numbers when they do really good, huh? But when a movie does bad, they're like, nah, we'll keep those to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No one needs to know how many people watched or didn't watch the Cloverfield Paradox.
I'm sure a lot of people watched it. But,
they just didn't like it.
Well, this is 100 million viewers for a show, not a movie, so I think they probably also do that differently.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm sure there's, a category for most watched movie, most watched show. But anyways, back to the thing, rather than argue on the semantics of Netflix. Squid Game. It's a Korean drama, kind of battle royale,
comedy,
I guess. Yeah, it's got dark comedy elements to it. At the very
surrealistic.
Yeah,
very surreal elements to it.
Yeah, kind of fringing on dystopian almost.
Yeah, maybe
a little bit, a tiny bit. But no. So it is a worldwide, critically acclaimed, international show. And it's Korean. It originates in Korea. So this, I believe, is the first Korean series I have ever watched that I know of.
Yeah, I've seen Korean movies, but never watched a Korean show, and it was fantastic. It was just as fantastic as the other Korean indie things that I've seen before, and definitely held up to that quality.
Yeah, my girlfriend randomly, we were just sitting around, and she had seen something on, I think, Instagram about the show, and she said, oh, let's watch Squid Game. And looking at it, I think the thumbnail at the time on Netflix, and then the name, I literally thought it was going to be a Korean game show.
Right, yeah, so I was expecting something kind of similar, we'd just be watching them compete some kind of reality TV show.
Yeah, kind of like Survivor, I guess.
Yeah, and the trailer doesn't give away too much, so that's really good.
Yeah, I actually did not watch the trailer, so we jumped right in, and yeah. And I suppose that's what we'll do. So the
first episode, I really liked the first episode because I thought it was just going to jump into the game right away, but it pretty much takes most of the first episode to introduce you to the main character and know why they would want to get into this situation, competing in the game. Yeah,
obviously, spoiler alerts to any of you losers who haven't watched this show yet. But yeah, so the first episode centers on, and I'm probably butchering this, but eventually we're just going to use the numbers. Gi-hoon, and he's a chauffeur, and he's a gambling addict, lives with his mom, which I'm sure in Korea and East Asian countries, I'm sure that is more common to live with older relatives. But obviously, in America, we see that and we're like, oh my god, what a loser.
Right, yeah, he's in his 40s or something like that.
Yeah, he's old enough to have a 10-year-old daughter.
Yeah, and he's divorced and all that good stuff.
All that stuff. It basically starts off, he gets some money from his mother to buy his daughter, because it's his daughter's birthday, and he's going to buy her, a fried chicken dinner is her favorite thing?
Yeah, that was the plan with the original money.
Yeah, the original money. And instead he goes to it's a horse track, right? For some reason I was thinking dog track.
No, yeah, horse racing, yeah.
Horse racing. I just watched the first episode of The Simpsons, so my mind was on dog track. But no, he goes to a horse track. He wins big. He's going to be able to pay off some of his debt because he's in debt to some loan sharks who beat him up, and he ends up getting pickpocketed. And of course and this is where some of that black comedy comes in, but the bookie or employee who works at the horse track that pays him his it's a ton of money that he gets back, and he gives her like a knight. He gives her like a big tip, and he's like, "Oh, you keep this." And then he gets pickpocketed. Loan sharks beat the crap out of him. Goes back up to her. He's all like beaten up, bloodied, bruised. I'm gonna need that. It's wand, right? That's what they kept saying. Wand. Yeah. He's gonna need that wand. Oh, I looked.
I know
up...
it's wand because I watched the subtitled version.
Oh yes, we should preface that. I watched the. I watched
dub version.
I watched the dub version.
Boo on you, sir.
But to be fair, until we were like halfway through the episode, I didn't notice that it was a dub. The voice acting in the dub I thought was very good. For pretty much everyone. Like, obviously, yeah, like, some of the phrases and stuff that they use are gonna sound just weird, because just like translating English idioms to other languages doesn't work, translating Korean idioms, I watched a little thing on, I think, Instagram about it earlier, how there's a couple phrases that they use that just sound really off in English.
Yeah, usually with the dubs, they try and do the best to just pick the best phrase.
Yeah.
With the sub, it's usually kind of closer to like a direct translation.
Yeah. So, so basically, as we go forward, to kind of keep in mind,
I really enjoyed the original Korean voice acting, or the original acting.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm sure it was awesome. In the future, whenever I go back to rewatch this, I'm probably gonna watch it in the original Korean, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
to kind of get back to it, basically, won is the South Korean currency, and it is, compared to the US dollar, not worth a lot. 10,000 won, which is like the typical note, I'm pretty sure.
It's $100?
10,000 won is $8.
You're kidding, right?
It's $8.42.
Really?
Yep. I literally have the conversion up right in front of me. One South Korean won is equal to 0.0004 United States dollars. So it is, one won would be worth less than a penny.
Wow. Okay.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure that's pretty similar. I think like Japanese yen is like not worth as much either.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. One yen is worth still less than a penny. So yeah. So he basically gave the worker like an $8 tip. Which I mean, yeah, for like I'm sure that's pretty good. But then he goes, he gets beaten up by the bookies, or not the bookies, his loan sharks, and they have him sign this thing that basically says, "Oh, you sign away your life."
Right. Yeah, and it was so they could take out his like kidney or whatever if he didn't pay them back.
I think they said I.
Right, yeah, the dude was saying, like, we'll come and take your kidney because you signed the release thing. And then for some reason, because he signed that release form, it also opened the door to the Squid Game shit.
Yeah, because...
Understanding, right?
Yeah, and then he goes, has, like, a sad supper with his daughter, and then basically on the subway back, or train back at the train station... Like, he's approached by, like, a really...
Slapman.
By a what?
Old Slappy.
Oh, Slapman, yeah. Like a really well-dressed man. Like, he's dressed up in, like, a really, like, super nice, like, suit and tie. And he offers him, like, 100,000 won to play... I would have no idea what the game is called. Basically, you have to, like, throw this folded-up piece of paper at your opponents and have it flip over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't think there's really, like, an American equivalent of that game.
No, the closest thing would be, like, like toss across or something like that, like squares, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something similar, but yeah, so he, eventually, Gi-hun wins, and he gets his money, he's all happy, and he gets invited to... play a game. Well, he gets invited to play something that's more high stakes, and
yep, he gives him a gold card with the PlayStation symbols on it.
Yep. And then yeah, basically to kind of skip along, he kind of ends up accepting, gets gassed, taken to a mysterious location with a bunch of other people who are
on the brink of financial ruin.
Yeah, pretty basically, as we're gonna find out.
That's how they said in the show.
Oh, did it? I'm sure they said that again, but again, I haven't watched it for a couple weeks. So yeah, they're taken in. They're all identified with numbers. They're all wearing the exact same thing. The staff at the place, they're all in jumpsuits. They all have masks.
Yeah, very creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, very creepy. This is where it ends up feeling like more like dystopian, with like, oh, like all these people are all, the same. They're all basically worthless, and then there's the basically soldier drones essentially, and then there's the big bad guy in the black mask.
Yeah.
With the cool robot voice.
Yeah, and I guess I think they just had them in the room and they just explained the concept to them or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But their language is very vague. Like they just say like, oh, like if you lose the game, you're just eliminated, which, that's just a comment. Like people.
Yeah, when I saw that in the subtitles, like, what do they mean by eliminated?
Yeah, when I started seeing eliminated, I was like, oh, geez. And then they are basically shuttled out into this big open. To kind of put it in perspective, it's I would say probably like the size of like a football field. For like comparison,
the room where all the beds are.
No. When they get shuttled out into the red light, green light.
Oh yeah, the place that looks like a MC Escher painting that someone threw like rainbow paint on.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're basically explained. Well, also we're introduced to I think a couple of the other players. I think player 1, the old man. They kind of meet up and they get become buddies, and he runs into Song Woo, who's his former like classmate. And
right, yeah.
The pickpocket that stole his money. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. And then there's this isn't there like a fight between the pickpocket and tough Asian gangster dude? Yeah,
Asian gangster with the bad tattoo.
Right, the ugliest man in the universe.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he's the bad guy because he's not just ugly. He is like ugly.
He's got that face that just screams like I'm a loan shark.
Yeah, he literally has like if you transplanted him into like 1920s America, he would be a mobster. He's just ugly. Disgusting evil antagonist.
Not a nice guy.
Not a nice guy, but the first game that they play is Red Light, Green Light, with a twist. If you lose, you get fucking shot.
Yeah, and I really liked the whole just setup going into this. You got them like going through this weird place with all these twists and turns, and that little that first area where they had to go through, and they're playing like this they're playing like classical music. It's and they go into this big, huge room. It looks like it's like a room, but it's huge, and the walls have been painted to look like a field and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically just tell them, hey, it's red light, green light. Get ready, and everyone's like, okay, all right, yeah. And then they play it, and like the first dude goes out in front, but then he like slightly moves after they say red light, and just boom, shot.
Yep, shot. And we kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, and then we kind of just go from there. Like the game proceeds, like red light, green light, but with.
Well, first of all, everybody freaks the fuck out and is just immediately massacred.
Oh yeah, literally just like
that was insane.
Yeah, like dozens of people just shot immediately, and then they go.
It was like hundreds.
Oh yeah, well,
they killed off like half the people.
I mean, like dozens at a time, like dozens, dozens per red light. Overall, hundreds, yes. But yeah, so they go through. They keep going. Old guy is the first guy across. He's just going.
Oh well, we don't have to just go to like summarizing it. I really like I just like the part where the old guy kind of figures out what's going on, or at least you think he's kind of figured out what's going on. He just gets this smile on his face, and he's like, "Hey, I can do this. I can walk and be, still because I'm old. I already do that most of the time."
Yeah, and then we get the big whole thing where. Main boy, 4, 5, 6, the main character, player 4, 5, 6, the whole big, oh my god, he's gonna get killed in the first episode, but then, frickin', I think it's, 199, he's a Pakistani worker, in South Korea, and that dude is jacked because he holds him like steady for like a solid like 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, he's probably not that. Well, okay, he's probably like 150 pounds or something.
Yeah, but still, with one hand not moving for that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude must be.
Oh yeah, it was great. Lots of tension. Yeah, and when they got across, I was like, "Woo, yeah, awesome."
Yeah, and then that's basically it. Yeah, first episode down, dead people, guns, bang bang.
I was instantly hooked. What a great way to start the series.
Oh yeah, it was an awesome way to start the series, and then we go off to episode 2, and yeah, it basically starts off like more than half the people are gone, and the rest of the people are like, please let us out. And then,
they all have a vote and stuff like that.
Yeah, Song Woo, he's like a businessman who obviously read the contract or whatever that he had to sign. It's called the third clause, or clause 3, where if the majority of people vote to end the game, then everyone gets sent home, but no money gets given. They all vote, and then player 1, Old Man, is the deciding vote, and he sends them all home, and they get dropped off basically just in their underdrawers, and yeah.
And basically the the evil people that had captured them, whatever, basically just giving them like time, like, hey, go back to your shitty life, see how you do, you'll be back.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then pretty much, so everyone goes back to their shitty lives. You get to see just some catch up with that and stuff, but then they all pretty much decide to go back to do the game, except for like 13 or 14 people.
Yeah, and basically we have it where 456, he goes to the police, but obviously no one believes him. They think he made it up when he's drunk. And yeah, then we find out that 456, his mom needs surgery because she's diabetic, and they might have to like amputate her feet.
Right, and they can't afford it, and then she tries to like walk out of the hospital.
Yeah, she literally just walks out of the hospital. Song Woo is he's gonna be like arrested for like financial fraud, basically. We find out that the old man has like a terminal brain tumor. Player 67, the pickpocket, wants to like get her parents from North Korea and get her little brother out of an orphanage. We basically get like the backstory to the main people.
Yeah, this wasn't my favorite episode. I kind of I wanted them to get back to the game as soon as possible,
Yeah, and eventually it does happen, and we get that. And then we're also introduced to Jun Ho, who is a police detective.
A loose cannon cop with nothing to lose.
Yeah. And so he goes and he follows player 456, and yeah, basically they all go back to the...
Yeah, you know what I thought? I thought, because he said he was like looking for his brother or something, and he found that card in his room. I thought that his brother was like the second dude to get shot in red light, green light, because they looked really like similar. There was like those two guys, and they were like friends talking to each other. First guy gets shot, and then second dude gets shot. I could have sworn the second dude like would have been his brother, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, so we go through. And, yeah, basically they all get picked up, and Cop Man follows along.
He pulls a Cape Fear.
Yeah, sneaks in, and we get into episode 3. So the cop basically pulls the old switcherooski, knocks out one of the workers, puts on his outfit, and we find out that they're able to basically get away with all this because it's on a island in the middle of the sea.
They don't really explain what happened to that knocked out worker, though.
Oh, he got
a plot hole there.
He got dumped in the. Did you not? They dumped the cop dumps him in the frickin' ocean.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. But yeah. So
good morning.
Yeah. So the players basically mingle among themselves, and we get basically the main squad. And
right, yeah, they immediately start to form alliances, just like a reality TV show.
Yep,
very cool.
Yep, very awesome.
Epic reality TV show reference.
Yeah, So we get 456, Songwoo, the old man, and player 199, the Pakistani who saved 456, and basically, they
Was that it?
Yeah,
that was the original crew, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the OG squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then,
that was really cool. I really liked the old man character a lot, and just the way they all interacted with each other and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was all nice. It seems like it'd be like a realistic take on what would happen if you shoved a bunch of people in this room.
For sure.
So then they shuffle them into the next room. It's basically just like a playground.
Yeah, giant playgrounds. That's nice and surreal.
Yeah, giant playground, and they put everyone in a line, and you have to pick out a shape. And then Songwoo basically ends up figuring out that what's going to be going on, and he picks the circle, and they spread themselves out, and 456 ends up picking umbrella. And basically what the game is, so there's these shapes that are like semi-cut into like... I've seen like the recipe form. It's literally just like sugar. You melt the sugar, and then you add like a little bit of baking soda. And that's literally it. So it's like basically like a...
Sugar cookie?
No, well, a sugar cookie would have flour and stuff. It's literally just sugar and baking soda. But basically, like, to put it in perspective, it's a cookie with like a shape semi-cut into it.
Yeah, and you have to cut it out without breaking the cookie.
Yeah, and all you get is like a thimble. Or not a thimble, but like a needle, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And depending on which shape you choose, it's either going to be really hard or, easier.
Yeah. So then we have that. We go through. There's a player, I think. Let me read this. Player 212, who is like a kind of bitchy Karen-esque lady.
Oh, yeah. I liked her character. She was fun.
Yeah. She basically smuggled a lighter in. And so she uses that. She like heats up her needle and uses that to like cut her shape out. And then passes it off to Ugly Gangster Man. So they're both able to complete it. Obviously, Songwoo is able to easily like complete his because he just had the circle. And then it's coming down to the wire. The tension's kicking in. People are getting shot because they break the cookie and break the shape.
Yeah. Super cool, like really just tense and like crazy.
Yeah, and it worked really well because I like literally by no means did I think that 456. I never thought that he was safe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I get it. He's the main character, but at the same time, like they very easily could have switched perspectives to the pickpocket or Songwoo or.
I was like, nah, whatever. he's too likable to die. No way.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I had a feeling he would make it up until the end and whatever, but I was like, at the same time, like I don't know how like Korean dramas like structure their show. Like our main characters usually like safe or.
Oh yeah, it's definitely you can definitely understand why you'd be kind of I mean I kind of knew he would make it, but yeah, at the same time I did worry sometimes for him.
Yeah, so we go through and he basically figures out because he starts like dripping sweat onto his cookie basically and realizes, oh, this is literally just like sugar. So he starts licking like the cookie, and that like obviously like gets rid of some of the sugar, so then he's more easily able to cut it out. And then a bunch of other people follow suit, and they end up...
the old man says he used his licking technique to live.
Yeah. So we get that, and then...
and while this has all been... Or I don't know if this has happened yet, but did they have like the... when does the like the organ transplant or...
That's next. That's
organ
next
harvesting... that's next. Okay.
Yeah, but then we have one of the players... He's like about to like get shot or whatever, and he takes one of the staff members hostage and forces him to unmask, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's basically just a kid. And then the player offs himself, and the staff member gets shot because like everyone is like all the staff are supposed to be like, oh god, what's the word? Anonymous. They're supposed to be anonymous, and so
because if any of the players could like figure out their identities, then they could like track the whole thing and bring it all down, man.
Bring it all down. Yep. So yeah, we get that, and then that's more or less the end of episode 3. Everyone escapes. I really loved this episode. It's really cool, and it's like it was a really cool way for like. I like that that 456 didn't just figure out right away like, oh, I can just lick this. It's literally just sugar. Like, I'm glad that that's not something that would immediately come to your mind, because like it's you know, you're under all this stress. You're gonna fucking die if you don't succeed in your task.
No,
So,
yeah,
like,
the show has a very tight logic that it sticks to.
Yeah, like, and like, so, like, you know, if you want to nitpick, you could very easily be like, oh, why didn't anyone think of that? Well, okay, if someone had a gun to your head and said, cut this star out of a cookie, would you think to, like, eat around the cookie? Probably not. So yeah, then we get into episode 4, where we find out that player 111 is a doctor, and basically he has like a in with some of the staff, and he's helping them harvest organs to sell in the black market, and then in return he gets information on what game is coming up next.
Right, yeah. Since the game place is basically just like a dead body factory, you know, they're like, oh, can't let all these extra organs go to waste.
Yeah, so they have the doctor, and yeah, so then we get basically introduced to him.
Yeah. What did you think about this side story? Because it kind of ultimately didn't really lead to much, you know? I thought it was weird, but also, like, I didn't mind it, because then it gives the cop something to do. Because he gets roped into it, and we find... and it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool to see that, like, yeah, like, all the workers are supposed to be, like, these, like, nameless, voiceless, like, basically will-less drones. So it's good to see that, like, even they still have, like, a stake and stuff, and then, you know... Yeah. They still got people kind of fucking around.
And then you get the cheating reality show player. Oh my god, he's cheating.
Who?
The doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, so what episode are we on?
4. So this is where we have...
basically actual Battle Royale.
Actual Battle Royale, yep. We have the gangster guy kills another one of the players over, like, food.
Yeah, a boiled egg and a soda.
Yeah, it was literally just, boiled
Imagine
egg.
dying over that.
Yeah. And then we basically find out... I don't remember how we find out, but we find out that the staff... Oh, I think that the doctor gets told that, like, they're basically trying to, like, cause the players to, like, hate each other to, like, weed out, like, the weak players.
Right, yeah.
And then after lights out for the night, it's basically fucking the oh god, what's basically just the purge.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this scene. It was kind of too dark and hard to see, and then when the strobe part started happening, it kind of gave me a headache.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I guess, like, obviously it's supposed to be, like, dark, dramatic. Basically, like, then the pickpocket joins up with 456's the OGs to protect her from ugly gangsters team.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically player 1, old man, basically just begs everyone to, like, stop it. He's scared, and then the front man ends the riot, and then we get a nice little scene after that where the gang exchanges, like, their names to build trust with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, like, a really nice scene of just them, like going through, and then player 1 can't remember his name because he has the brain tumor.
Right, yeah, everyone, and people are on watch, and I think Juwan and the Pakistani dude, his name, what was his number? Like something.
I think it was 199. I think saves him.
Sure. Yeah. Him and Juwan or whatever his name was. They get some rapport there, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, we have that, and then we basically get some more loose cannon detective. The guard next door to him coughs in Morse code, basically, and sends him a message.
Oh yeah, number 29, basically telling him, and then he follows the guy, and he basically just finds out about the whole organ transplanting operation, organ harvesting operation. Yep. And then he doesn't he pretty much just blow up the whole thing? Or did it just blow up without him?
I think it doesn't blow up yet.
Okay.
It takes, I think, a couple episodes for everything to happen. So then we get basically they bring them out for the third game. They're told to form groups.
Wasn't it? I
think 10 people. Groups of 10 people. And so then they recruit another Gorl, and then the Jesus Freak and random Joe Schmo guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then basically the Doctor teams up with Ugly Gangster Man. They
Giving him
find
hints and stuff.
Yeah, giving them hints of like what the game's gonna be. So then they only pick like buff dudes, like stronger men, and I think it's either in this episode or the previous episode. Bitchy Lady and Ugly Gangster Man, they fornicate on a toilet because they're disgusting. And then basically, like the next episode or at the next opportunity, Ugly Gangster Man just dumps her basically in front of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So then, we get that, and then 212 is the bitchy lady, and she joins with the gang, and so then they have 10 people, and then we see that at the end of the episode, it is it's tug of war, and obviously the big strong man team beats the team of other people, and they all fall to their deaths.
Pretty brutal way to do that. It's just you just fall to your death there, and you might not even die, and they'll just stick you in a box.
Yep, exactly. And then that's the end of episode 4. Episode 5 opens up. We have the gang, the squad, the boys, basically the crew of the Millennium Falcon. You know, how can they lose with all this many main characters on the team? So yeah, despite the fact that they have like the weaker players, they're able to beat the brawn with the brains, because the old man is like, oh, we have to have like our strongest person at the back as like an anchor, and then
have everyone on opposite sides of the ropes, and he can, like tells them like all this technique stuff. Really cool. I really like that.
Technique. So yeah, they do that, and they end up winning. They're like on the verge of losing, but then Song Woo is like, oh, everybody like just like more or less just let go of the rope, like stop trying, because then the whole other team, they all fall on their asses, and then they quickly win after that.
No, yeah, because they were about to lose, and he was like, okay, we got one chance, we got to trip them, and you do the clay, take 3 steps forward, classic. Very classic.
Yeah, they all walk forward. That's what it was. So then, like, everyone else falls, and then they die, and then we go up.
Yeah, afterward, they're all feeling pretty bad about it because they just killed 10 people together.
Yeah. So then, like, they kind of expect that, like, oh, like, you know, what if there's like another riot thing, and they build a barricade and spend the night taking turns on guard, but then.
Oh, okay, that's when that happened. I guess I jumped the shark.
Yeah, and then I don't remember why it was, but basically they, through a persuasion check, basically they convince Ugly Gangster to not kill people.
Yeah. It's wasn't it because 456 was like, can you really trust any of your guys? How do you know they're not gonna shank you in the back?
Yeah, basically. So
mind tricks him.
Yeah, passes his charisma check because he's the main character. And then Detective Man learns about like the black market organ harvesting because the person that he is the person whose identity he's impersonating was a part of it. And then basically the front man ends up catching everybody who does this, executes them, and then like strings their bodies up. And then we have a nice little
and he kind of explains like, they died because they defiled this place, because this is a place where it's, everyone is equal and you have, equal opportunity and
Yeah, so
so to me, I don't know. So it was, it's a pretty decent side story that took up a decent amount of time, and ultimately the end result was just, kind of just reinforce the I guess the code of the game place.
The code of the game. And then basically they start like a whole island-wide search for the detective, and he breaks into the frontman's office and learns that the game's been going for like decades, and that his brother who he's looking for, had won previous year.
Oh yeah, I kind of didn't understand like that part with like the years and stuff. I was like, what? And then
Yeah.
So he won. Okay.
His brother was a previous winner.
Interesting.
And then that's the end of episode 6. Or episode 5, and then we open with 6. And for the next game,
episode 5 was like really intense, like emotionally.
Yeah, it really was. Not as intense as episode 6, because they're told to pair up. Yeah. Obviously, Song-woo pairs up with 199, the Pakistani, because they're like BFFs. 456 and Player 1, they're like BFFs, so they pair up. And then the two girls, like the two younger girls, team up together. And then... Cause,
everyone pairs off. And
everyone pairs off because they're expecting that it's going to be like, oh, another team game. And then they're playing against their partner. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, yeah, and then the Karen lady gets left out, and everyone assumes she's killed.
Yeah. And then we go through, and they play... Everyone has to play a marbles game. And you have 30 minutes to win your opponent's marbles through whatever game you want.
Mm-hmm. I really like the set for this one, this little neighborhood.
Yeah, it's like in like a neighborhood with like a dirt ground. Yeah, it's really, really neat looking. And then so, I think 199 and Song-woo, they play like them, and 456 and Player 1, they all play like the same game, obviously in their pairs. And they do... Basically, you wager so many of your marbles, and you have to guess how many marbles the other person is holding, if it's an odd or even number. And,
right, yeah. They could play whatever marble game they want, but they could have played the main one.
Yeah, I'm assuming, that just must be like a more common one. So... Song-woo gets his ass handed to him by 199. And
he gets all mad. He's like, "You said you never played this before."
Yeah, when it's in... Yeah, well, obviously, like...
And then he tricks him out of his marbles.
Yeah, like, he tricks him. He's like, we'll do this. We'll do something else. We'll figure out a way where we can both win. And then Player 1 and 456, they're playing, and 456 is gonna... Like, he's on the verge of losing, and then... Old man starts having like a dementia episode, and he's like, I don't remember what I said. And then 456 is like, oh, you said odd or whatever. And then basically he tricks him. He plays with his dementia-addled head. And
very, very interesting, just because, he'd been working so hard to help this guy out, but now it comes down to the line, like, you or me, and he's like, oh, gotta go with me.
Yep. And, so Song-woo ends up tricking 199 into giving him his marbles. And then we have Gangster Man is playing with, like, one of his cronies. And they're about to play a game where I think Gangster Dude was about to lose. And then he throws, like, a little...
He decides to change the game.
Yeah, he throws a pissy fit, and he's like, I want to change the game! And the guard is like, okay, play a different game. And then they play...
put the marble in the hole?
Yeah, basically, like, there's like a little hole dug. You have to try and get the marble in the hole, and if you get the marble in the hole, you get all the other marbles that aren't in the hole. And then the Gangster Man is about to lose, but then the fucking other guy, Fatty Magoo, throws his marble and ends up knocking Ugly Gangster Man's marble into the hole, thus sealing his own fate. And he dies.
Yep.
Then we get
he runs away, and then he gets shot.
Tries to run away. Emphasis on tries.
And and then so in this episode, there's like basically the two chicks that were on the team, North Korean girl and the other one. They're basically just like talking the whole time, and I was just really not into it.
Yeah, it was basically just like time for them to like exposit their backstories. And they're like, well, we'll just do, like, a winner takes all, like, at the last second. And it's like, I think they end up on, like...
around the whole episode.
Yeah, they just, like, talk, which is, like, it's like a cool thing. It's, like, a different thing. It's, like, a different vibe. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we basically... They sit until the very end and just chit-chat, hang out, have their character development. And then they're like, okay, whoever throws their marble closest to that wall wins. And then they do. Player or pickpocket girl, she ends up winning. And yeah, other girl is
the other girl basically she
threw the game.
She threw the game.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. So yeah, they got that, and yeah, so now we're down to the original two girls, Karen girl and pickpocket girl.
We don't know that yet.
Oh yeah, we don't know that yet. Oh my god, sorry. But no, then we have
first things first, old man.
First things first, old man. We have basically the emotional send off. Player one, like, basically, like, reveals that, like, oh yeah, I know you've been fucking with me, but, like, you can win anyways, because earlier in the episode, they basically, I forget what the Korean word for it is, but they basically, Gongbu? Ganbu. Yeah, Ganbu. Which is basically just, like, super BFF. Like,
right, best friends, you share everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's like your most trusted friend, your best buddy, basically, like, one step away from being, like, married.
Yeah, my marbles are your marbles.
Yeah, and like they have like the like heartwarming, sad goodbye. Like old man reveals that like, oh, I knew you were tricking me, but I'll let you win anyways because you're my BFFFF. And before he is shot, he remembers his name, which is, according to this page I'm on, Oh Il Nam, and then. Yeah, they're basically, like, the three remaining main people are basically just, like, traumatized because their best buddies are now dead. And at their own hand.
Pretty shook up.
And that is the end of episode 6, which is, like, basically the emotional, like, apex of the show.
Yeah, really heart-wrenching scene there.
Heart-wrenching stuff. I knew that the inevitable thing was going to happen where, like, it was going to be Old Man and 456, and they were going to have to... It was going to be one or the other. So I knew it was coming. And my heart, my soul. It got me.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, but, it definitely took me... I was kind of like, okay, they're having them pick teams of two. Yeah, they'll probably have them compete against each other or some stuff.
Yeah. I had a feeling when they picked teams of two, I'm like, oh, this is it. They're going to have like a 1v1 COD no scopes match. And yeah, they did, but with marbles. So, that's the end of 6. Into episode 7, we have a player who, in the previous episode, it's established that like he's in there with his wife, and so they obviously teamed up together. And he basically had to defeat his wife, and so now he's like, he's very rightfully like just heartbroken, and he ends up hanging himself.
Yeah, but before that, we get introduced back to Korean Karen again because she didn't die.
Yeah,
she was not shot in the head.
Yeah, they literally just like brought her back because she didn't have any friends. So
yeah, that was the one time in the game where failure to comply did not equal death.
Well, it's because she didn't necessarily comply. She literally couldn't, and the whole thing, since it's equal, like.
No, yeah. So I guess So they're going for fairness, and they mentioned some kids game rule from when they were kids or something like that.
Yeah. So she ends up like surviving, and she's like, "Hey, fuck you guys. It pays to not have friends, losers."
Yeah, she basically got to skip a whole game.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, she got a bye into the next game. And at this point, the VIPs, who have been mentioned a couple times before, they arrive, and they're gross, douchey, rich people. And they have these...
Right, yeah, the very cliche animal masks, but I thought they fit.
Yeah, I thought they fit really well. I'm sure, like, if you want to read into it, like, each character probably has one for, like, their specific personality or whatever. But yeah, so they have those. They're, like, they're literally just wealthy assholes who want to watch the games, like, in person.
This was what I was waiting for, because I was like, what is the whole point of the game? Are they, like, televising this shit? What are they doing? Like,
yeah, I figured it was being, like, you know, like, how I figured it was is, like, if you're in the know... and you're, like, rich enough, you probably just, like, have, like, a connection who has, like, the link to the live stream. Or whatever. Is how I figured it was. Because obviously they know this is happening. So it's probably on like the frickin'...
Well, they said it earlier. You know, you could watch it on a screen at home, but it's not the same as being in person.
Yeah, so they're probably just watching it on like the dark web somewhere.
Well, no, they probably gotta like pay. Pay a lot. I'm assuming to do it.
Oh yeah, it's probably You have to be you have to be like a powerful, like in the know kind of person. And we have the detective who is now masquerading as like a masked servant. Like he gets like, well, no, because I guess that's later. We get yeah. So basically, they set up for the next game. All the main people, they're all like traumatized because they just had to kill their like BFF. And yeah, so then we get the next game, the penultimate game, where first they're like put into like this room, and is it like vests that are numbered or something? Or
yeah, they're vests on mannequins.
Yeah. There's some numbered vests on mannequins. It's like 1 through whatever. And so basically we have like the thing of like, oh, like, you know, I think it ends up getting clarified by like the voiceover voice of like, oh, like this'll determine in what order you do the thing. And so then everybody grabs for the ones in like the middle, and then it's basically the last ones are open or the first ones. There's one guy who like begs 456 like, oh, please let me have like number 1.
Yeah. I want to take charge of my life for once or something like that.
I want to take charge of my life for the first ever
this
time.
whole like emotional little like, you know, soliloquy from him, like explaining his life. And I was just like, we're gonna get some unintended consequences there.
So, yep, some ironic fate.
Irony.
Yep. So then 456 is last. That guy is first. They shuffle him out. And basically it's a bridge. It's an air quotes bridge of glass. There's panes of glass, like squares of glass, that some of them are just regular glass that won't support the weight of a person. And then the other ones are...
They're tempered glass.
Yeah, and then the other ones are tempered glass that could support 2 people. And you don't know which one is which. There's 2 sides, basically, and you have to hop from one to one.
Yep.
And...
Glass stepping stones, they call it.
Yeah. So then they have that, and... I think number 1, he goes first, makes it onto the tempered glass, and then immediately just dies going to the second hop.
Yeah. Another terrifying challenge where you just fall to your death if you lose.
Yeah, it's literally, and this one is like there's no skill, there's no luck, or it's literally all luck, unless you're the one guy.
Right, yeah.
That we'll get to later. So we go through, and like we have the shenanigans of like, oh my god, like, you know, people don't want to go forward because it's like it's literally 50-50 if you'll live or die.
Yeah, this was like my other favorite challenge besides red light, green light.
Yeah, this one, like, I would love to play this game in like a safe environment at like one of those jump houses where you would just like fall into like a pit of like a ball pit, basically. I think it'd be fun to do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, in like a safe in a safe environment like this. Yeah. These games are all fun. They're like kids games. So yeah,
maybe directing wise, they could have like done more with like maybe the height. You know, they're like standing on glass or something. But I'm glad they didn't get too into it because I'm not afraid of heights. I just
Yeah, well,
I get a little freaked out.
I kind of like that. Like, yeah, there's like violence and blood and death in this, but I like a lot of it is like almost implied. Like, you know that they fall to their deaths, but you don't need to constantly be seeing like bodies splatter.
Right? Yeah, there's not like a camera like following them all the way to the bottom and
yeah. So yeah, we have that, and we go through, and there's a gangster guy at some point. He gets behind a guy who's like...
Oh, and the whole time the rich guys are just watching.
Oh yeah, the rich guys are just watching, being rich assholes. And this is
One
where...
dude's like, I bet on 69 because it's a good number.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, and
epic 69 joke.
Player 69 was the player who hung himself because he had to kill his wife, basically. So we had that, and then like we go through, and then eventually the detective, he is sexually propositioned by a disgusting fat guy with like... In the dub, it was kind of funny because he had like kind of a southern accent.
No, yeah, those voices were actually in English.
Oh, okay, they were in English. Okay, that's what I figured, because
I almost didn't notice it at first when they were speaking English, you know? But, very seamless transition.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, the fat dude, he was, I don't remember what mask he in, but he had like the goatee. So he had the southern accent for you too.
Yeah, most of the like rich guys were like speaking English. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure. I never noticed that. I guess if I watched it again, I'd be like, oh yeah, their mouths actually line up when they speak. But yeah,
Cool.
So yeah, he's being a disgusting, pervy, old, rich dude, and he's like, oh, I want to do.
Yeah, let's hold off on watching people die. I want to have sex with this random dude.
I want to have sex with this random dude because he's hot, I guess.
Because he can.
Because he can. Yeah, and that's basically what it is. If you haven't, if by this point of watching the show, if you haven't figured out that the whole message of this is that like rich people are assholes who get away with whatever they want and can do what they want, then this guy is like the perfect exemplar of, I'm a rich asshole and I'm gonna have intercourse with this guy whether he likes it or not because I have enough money to get on the private island. So yeah, we go through. We see way more of this disgusting fat dude than I would have ever liked to see. And then yeah, the fucking it's also kind of comical. Like he fucking the detective turns it around. He's got a fucking gun and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't tell me all of the stuff that I want to know."
Oh yeah, and he like reverses what the dude had said to him. He says, "You have 5 minutes to make me happy," or something like that.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because obviously with the old dude, with the rich dude, it was like, oh, you have 5 minutes to do the thing, and then detective.
I'll make your dreams come true.
Yeah, detective turns it around on him, and then ends up knocking him out, and then we go through back to the game basically, where
people stepping on glass,
stepping on glass and dying, and then eventually we get where gangster guy is behind a guy who does not want to go any further because he's like, I don't want to. Scary fall, die. And then the gangster man basically pushes him forward and he lands on the pane of glass that is glass. And, well...
Wasn't it actually like another random guy first that did it? Like gangster guy was 2 dudes behind.
Oh, yeah. And then the other guy pushed him. And then we have like, oh, it's because it was the...
And then everyone gets the idea, we can just push the people in front of us.
The dude who was in the very front and like was holding everything up initially was Jesus Freak, and he literally stops the game, gets down on his knees, and quite literally starts praying and like running down the clock. And so then the guy behind him is like, hey, fuck you, pushes him, Jesus Freak falls to his death.
Or didn't the dude try and jump onto he jumped onto the Jesus Freak's glass panel, and then they scuffle, and then doesn't the other dude get shoved? Right?
No, I thought it was...
Yeah, the other dude gets shoved, and then the Jesus Freak is like, oh, thank you, God, or whatever, and then he gets shoved by another guy.
That's what it is. Yeah, so...
That was great.
So Jesus Freak murders a guy, and he's like, oh, thank you, God. I'm such a good person.
A really fun sequence there. You really feel the tension, like, you really, like, relate to the situation.
Yeah, because what I thought was going to happen was they were both going to fall in the scuffle, and then it's like, oh shit, there's less bodies in front of us. But then only one of them falls. Jesus Freak gets murked. And then yeah, gangster guy eventually like pushes someone next, and then gangster guy's at the front, and he's in front, and he's like, nope, fuck you, someone else, get up here and do this. I'm not going any further. I'll let us all die, basically, like using his intimidation tactics. And then 212 Karen lady, who got dumped by him a couple episodes ago, basically is like, hey, I fucking hate you and you're a piece of trash. I don't remember exactly what she says. And then she ends up basically like embracing him and then falling onto the next pane of glass, which is glass, and they both die.
Yep.
And
yeah, she told him that she was going to kill him if he betrayed her or something.
Yeah, and then she does, and also kills herself because... Why not? Dramatic irony! Ironic fate! So we have that, and then it turns out there was one asshole who worked in a glass factory and can tell the difference in the glass by, like, the sound and the way light goes off of it.
Yeah, the way light refracts off of it, yeah, or colors or something like that.
Yeah, and so he is able to, like, figure it out for a couple, and then... I think the front man or one of the VIPs is like, oh, fuck this guy, and then they basically just, like, turn the lights way down So now he can no longer see.
Yeah, that seemed kind of unfair to me. You know, like I get it in this situation, everyone's supposed to be equal or whatever, but doesn't that mean everyone getting to use their own skills and stuff?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think at some point, like, the equality is also controlled by, like, the rich asshole guys. Because, like, it's also, at the same time, like, for the most part, their entertainment.
I got you. Okay, gotta keep the customers happy.
Yeah. So then we go through, he ends up dying, and then...
Juwan shoves him through the glass, very epic.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so then we get that, and then they're able to, like, get it figured out, and then they get through just in time. It's, like, the main three people. It's Pickpocket, Songwoo, and 456.
And of course, the entire glass bridge shatters behind them after the
yeah, in, like, a huge...
timer is up.
Totally epic explosion. Everyone gets, like, cutted on the face, and then...
North Korean girl takes a glass shard to the kidney.
Yeah. Straight to the gut. And basically, I'm pretty sure the game ends where, like, she's literally pulls the big glass chunk out, and then that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, and, yeah, really good episode, and,
Yeah, really good episode. Tension super high. Literally goes from, like, emotional high in the previous episode to just, like, super tense this episode. And then we get, next episode, basically the finalists, the big three, are dressed up. They get, like, tuxedos that still have their numbers on them. And they get, like, a fancy steak dinner. The girl barely eats hers.
They call it a feast, but it looks like they just prepared them the one dish.
Yeah. Yeah, it was literally just, like, steak with some other stuff, and, like, they get, like, some red wine. The girl barely eats because she's obviously in immense pain.
Yeah. Yeah, can't eat like that.
And then,
very realistic there.
Yeah, and then at the end of dinner, everything's cleared out except for their steak knives. And then it's basically after the lights go out, 456 realizes that, oh, Songwoo, he's fallen to the dark side, like, he'll do anything to win. So he teams up with the girl, and it's like, hey, like, we can do this. Like,
but then he realizes she's dying.
Well, first, Songwoo falls asleep, and then 456 is going to go and kill him, but then the girl is like, no, then you'll just, like, be on his level, you'll be a shitty person, like, don't do it. Basically,
you're a good person.
Like, yeah, you're a good person, like, just don't do it this way. And basically gives him, like, the light side dialogue option. And he takes it, and he gets some light side points, KOTOR style, and then realizes that she is, like, intensely injured. She's, like, starts bleeding through her suit, basically. And then he, like, goes up,
goes to the
goes
door,
to the door, starts banging on it. Yeah, he's like, hey, we need a doctor.
Forgets where he is.
Yeah. And, like, the door opens, the people walk in, but they've got, like, the big coffin, and it turns out that Songwoo fucking murked her. Just took her out.
Yep.
And then the rest of the episode is basically dedicated to tying up the detective arc. He is able to, like, use the scuba gear that the black market people were using to, like, sell the stuff, and, like, the VIP escape tunnel that they were using, that the VIPs also, like, entered on or whatever. And he's able to scuba dive to, like, another island, but he gets tracked down because I think there's, like, a tracker in his mask or something.
Yeah, there's a tracker on the scuba gear, yeah.
Oh, tracker on the scuba gear, that's what it was, yeah. And so he gets tracked down by the front man and the other staff, and then there's, like, a tense standoff. I really, really like that scene where, like, the front man is like, well, I know what model revolver you have. I know it holds five bullets, and that it's, like, South Korean PD.
One is empty and one is, like a blank?
Yeah, one's empty and one is a blank, and you've already used all your you've used all but one of your actual bullets. And then the front man reveals himself to be the detective's brother.
Your brother.
Who I think then the detective, like, shoots him, and it, like, hits him in, like, the shoulder, basically, or he had previously shot him. And then he kills his own brother.
Yep. Well, so we're led to believe. You know, he was just shot in the shoulder. I mean, and then he fell into the water, but we didn't see a body.
We didn't see a body. We did not.
And before that, he called the Korean police or whatever.
Yeah, he basically called his like chief of police, and he's like, "Hey, I just texted you all these pictures. This is where I'm at. Like, this is what's happening." And then so
he tried to send him some files, but he probably didn't send them.
Yeah, I think it's
a shitty connection.
I think it did. It's just I think you're like he very well could have not. So then that's basically what happens in that episode. That one is a shorter one, which I kind of liked. Like that penultimate episode, it was like only like a half hour long.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I was okay with that because
I liked it
with the time.
Yeah,
every other episode of the series is like 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think after like opening and post credits, they're about like 45 minutes. So,
sure.
So yeah, so then we get to the final episode, and it like opens up just like immediately, like there's no like pretense or anything. Like they walk out, it's in that same place where the initial red light green light happened, and they play Squid Game, which is introduced in the very first episode. I still don't frickin' understand the rules.
Totally called that it was going to be the last game.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. It's like a big callback to like that very first episode. Like, I think they mentioned like earlier.
Well, and the whole name of the series.
Yeah, and the whole name of the series. So that was really cool. Like, and then it starts raining, which is super dramatic. And one of the VIPs is like, "A good rain knows when to fall."
Right. Yeah. And in my part, that dude specifically spoke that part in I think Korean or it might have been Chinese or something.
Because they do that in the dub too. Like he speaks it in his native language, and then he says it like in English to the other VIPs, and they're all
and then he translates.
And then they're all like, "Oh my god, whoa, we're very rich and assholey, so that's very epic, bro."
Yeah, and regarding Squid Game, I believe it's just like I don't know, it's like Keep Away or something like that, or like King of the Hill,
so
but with like extra rules added.
There's like the defense, like the whole defense zone or whatever, and the person on the outside has to get to like a certain point in like
you can only hop on 1 foot at first, and you got to go across the thing in order.
Yeah, you have to like hop on 1 foot until you get in, because then it puts like the offense player at like a disadvantage. It's
basically King of the Hill, just with rules and stuff added.
King of the Hill, that's a really good way to put it. King of the
way
Hill
to win is by shoving people.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So then we have, they do that, and then 456 goes in, and they have like just a long drag out brawl in the rain and the mud. And
great scene.
Great scene. The cinematography is really, really good. Apparently it's a thing in like Asian movies that like there aren't a lot of cuts. Like it's a lot of long shots.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it was really good. It really lets like the fight breathe, and it makes it feel more like brutal and like visceral when it's not like. Because, like, it obviously, like, in American movies, we're used to it, like, every time there's, like, a punch or a kick, or every time, like, someone gets shot or whatever, like, there's a cut. So, like, it's really cool and really refreshing to see, like, this different style of, like, filming that, like, shows, like, 10 seconds
the camera's, like, rotating around them, and it's getting all up in there,
Yeah, so it's really cool. I would, like, props to, like, the cameraman and the director, and... I would presume stunt people, because I'm assuming like these takes would be long and fucking shitty in like the cold ass rain. But yeah, so it basically ends up where like 456, like he barely is able to like eke out a win, like knocks out Song Woo, just like debilitates him, and like
he's ready to do the killing blow.
And then we have the thing where it like cuts away. And then he had, like, stabbed the ground next to him. And then he's just gonna, like, walk away. He doesn't want to be the one to kill him. So he's gonna go and just, like, get on the winning space or whatever, basically. And he can't do it. He can't bring himself to do it because he's a good guy at heart. And he's like, hey...
Because, like, as he's, like, walking to the space to win, you know, the drone dude is, like, holding, like, a revolver to Ju-won, just ready to kill him as soon as the dude wins.
Yeah. So
instead, he decides, fuck it, and he's like, no, I want to call it off right now, and then Ju-won is like, nah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, just like use your prize money to help my mother, and he offs himself.
Yeah, he stabs himself in the neck and then instantly dies.
Yeah, he dies like moments later, and then
that was a little unrealistic.
Well,
he wouldn't be instantly dead from that.
I don't think he immediately died, but also at the same time, like his body was probably like in shock, and he was already basically on the verge of unconsciousness.
Yeah, but there's like no blood or anything.
Yeah, that's
a little weird there.
Probably for dramatic purposes, they didn't want to just do like the whole blood squirting out of his neck thing.
It broke my immersion a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Yeah, and then 456 wins. He's like getting driven. I think it's in like a limo, and the front man is in there unmasked, and 456 is like blindfolded, and they're basically just like talking, and yeah, it's basically. Or no, that's in the. Oh no, that isn't this. Yeah, this is all in the last episode. The last episode has a lot of stuff in it.
Right. Yeah, because basically the game is finished by like maybe 15 or 20 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the episode is just kind of like epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah. So then, yeah, they're like having this discussion, and the front man is like, yeah, basically, like, you know, all these rich people just get away with it. It's literally just entertainment for them. Like, it's nothing more. Like, it's.
Yeah, he compares them to horses in horse racing.
Yeah, which is like a nice callback to 456. Like, he initially got into, like, one of the first things we see him do is like that horse racing, and he's like, yeah, you're literally just horses to us. Like, that's it. So then he dumps him out, and he's like tied up or whatever, and then there's another Jesus freak out on the sidewalk like preaching like, oh, you're all assholes, you're all going to hell.
Yeah, the classic believe in Jesus or go to hell.
Yeah, which also is very ironic because I'm pretty sure like Korea is like mostly like Buddhist, and I think there's also like a scene in like the first episode where like 456 is getting preached at, and he's like, I come from a long line of Buddhists, so just like, or no, it's to the initial suit guy, so it's kind of a callback to that as well, where like,
oh yeah, because he thinks he's like a Jehovah's Witness or something.
Yeah, and so he comes up to him and he's like, save your breath, I'm from a long line of Buddhists. And so,
is that what he said in the sub or the dub?
Yeah,
in the sub he said he was from a Buddhist household.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. In the dub, he's like, I come from a very long line of Buddhists, which basically same thing.
Sure.
But yeah, so then he gets untied by like the Jesus freak, and then unblindfolded.
He coughs up a credit card.
Yeah, coughs up his new debit card, and then it ends up where he brings it to like an ATM, sees that there's like, oh god, I don't remember what the prize is. It's like 38 billion won.
Like 45 billion won.
Yeah, 45 billion won. So he brings it. He sees it's in there. It's like legit. He just takes out 10,000 won. So.
Right. Yeah. And oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. So 45 billion won is like 37 million dollars.
Yep. Which I mean, still like that's a shit ton of money. Like you can live off that for the rest of your life and then some.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So he's basically now he's a made man, but. He's obviously like traumatized by his experience, very rightfully so. Like he goes to go home, and he runs into like Songwoo's mother, and gives her like the money that he took out, or some money that he took out. She won't accept it, and she's like, "Oh, bring this up to your mother. Like I haven't seen her for a couple days." He goes upstairs.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought right away. Oh, it was like it was so sad. This is like the saddest thing that there's in the show for me. Yeah. He gets home, he's like, oh, I'm home. He goes through, like, all the lights are off. And he goes in, and his mom is just dead on the floor. Which, that was the only weird thing. It's like, why is she on the floor? Like, wouldn't you assume she, like, died in bed?
Yeah.
But also, I guess her feet were messed up, so maybe she fell down and died on the floor. So he gets home.
That's another extra layer of guilt to add on to his guilt.
Yeah, like...
You know, that he wasn't taking care of his mom, he was off playing the game.
He's off playing the game, but also very ironic. Now he has the money that could have saved his mom, but his mom died before he could get the money.
Yep.
Because his mom didn't have money, so he ends up just like, he like breaks down and he just like curls up on the floor next to her, and then it basically jump cuts a year in the future. And yeah, you can tell he's traumatized because he's grew his hair out and he has a beard now.
Yeah, and he's basically just kind of living like a bum.
Yeah, he's basically living the exact same way he had before. He gets a call from like his bank, and he takes like the train out there. He goes in, like it's a very nice, like it's obviously like a very nice bank. They're treating him really, really well because he has a lot of money.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you know,
you haven't. Like, yeah, they basically tell him like, oh, hey, like, you know, you could take it out of like your savings account. You're not making any money, and you could put it in like this account. You'd make more money. And then he's basically just like, please shut up.
Oh yeah, and then he this is kind of an interesting thing. He asked the business dude if he could lend him 10,000 won, and the business dude's just like, yeah, no problem, sure. He just gives him it like no questions.
Yeah, and then
it got kind of ironic because, you know, like before he couldn't get anyone to like lend him money, and now
yeah, when he has all this billions of dollars, he now people will give him money because now he's like irony. Yeah, because now he's like someone in air quotes.
Right.
So he takes the train back, and he ends up he's sitting on the beach having a beer, having a brewski, contemplating his shitty life. And yeah, he's approached by a lady who's selling flowers, and she's like, "Oh, please, like, buy my flowers." And yeah,
right. Yeah, he just gives her the 10,000 won he got, and he gets a flower, and it has a card that has the little gold calling card for the Squid Game place.
Yeah. So then he goes to the address, and it's like he goes in. It's just like this big empty room, and in the corner there's a bed with a person on it, and ba-da-bum-ba-bum.
The old man.
Yeah, it's the old man, and he basically reveals that like he's the mastermind.
I was behind it the whole time.
Yeah, he created it to entertain the ultra rich like himself. He's like trying to find a way to like enjoy life again, and also test whether there was any like good left in the human race.
Right, and he basically just kind of explains, you know, like rich people and poor people have one thing in common. They both he said like bored or unhappy with life or something like that.
Yeah,
said, no matter what they buy or whatever, eventually they get bored.
And yeah, he basically reveals like, oh, all these games, they're all things I did when I was a kid, and I wanted to play because like I wanted to just like relive that. And he basically just participated for like the sake of doing it. And he asks 456 like, hey, play one last game with me. And it was like one last test to see if there's any good left in humanity. There's like a drunk bum on the side of the street, and old man is like, he's been out there for like 5 hours, like he'll freeze to death because it's like wintertime, it's starting to snow. He'll freeze to death if someone doesn't come out there and like do something about it.
Right, yeah, so they bet whether or not someone will help him by midnight.
Yeah, so basically some like people just walk by. One person walks over and looks like they're gonna do something, bends down and like looks at him, and then just like walks away, and they continue to like chit chat and like. Yeah,
I just assumed they like pickpocketed him or something.
Yeah, well then that same person later on shows back up with like authorities, like the police, and they help him out. And they like get him in the car, and yeah, but the old man I think dies. After, like, I don't know if he died before or after, like, seeing that.
Like, maybe slightly before.
Yeah, but also, like, it would be pretty, like, fitting for that guy who, like, had this shitty game to die still thinking that there's no humanity left in humanity. So, I don't remember, I would have to rewatch it, but I think he died knowing, or thinking that, like, everyone's an asshole, nobody cares about anyone else. And then, but 456 realizes that, and he basically, it snaps him out. He gets a haircut, a fresh shave. He dyes his hair red, which I'm sure
no symbolism there.
Yeah, definitely not. And I
assume it's to represent the blood on his hand.
Definitely couldn't be that, or I'm sure. Like, I think it's also just supposed to be like, oh, like he's like completely changed who he is, so now he's also changing his hair or something. Also, I'm sure in Asian countries, I think, in Japan at least, I think there's definitely a different connotation to like dyeing your hair. I think it means a lot more over there than it does here in like those East Asian countries. So I think it's also just like a cultural thing.
Sure, whatever. But yeah, basically he just gets a new start.
Yeah, he gets his new start for life. He's in a train station. He's about to head to the airport to see his daughter because her stepdad and mother brought her to America.
Mm-hmm. And who does he see but Slapman again?
Slapman again, yeah. And he sees that they're playing that game, and this guy ends up like winning, and he gets the card, and he basically runs up, takes the card from the guy, and he's like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here! Like, just go away. Forget this ever happened."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, steals the card, and then goes to his flight.
He's gonna get on his plane. He calls the number and he asks who they are, but then the front man basically he's like, "Hey, just get on your plane and just get out of here. Go away. Go be with your daughter." And then the episode ends with 4:56. He ends the call and he stays in South Korea.
Yeah, he's just walking off to go do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was calling to, like, re-register in the game or something like that, but I guess he was just calling just to, like, tell him off or something, or, like, tell him, "I'm coming for you."
Well, I'm pretty
I
sure
guess that'll be what the second season is about.
Yeah, like, he'll probably, like, just go in, try and play it again. I hope he doesn't die, because he's...
But this time he's there to bring down the whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the series, episode by episode. Super, super awesome show. If you have not watched it, do it. If you've watched it, it's awesome. You know how awesome it is. I think
98% awesome, a few mid points here and there, but mostly just excellent.
Yeah, no, awesome show. Really like it. It was like the creator and everything. Like he did an awesome job.
Really cool concept. I like just using the challenges where, like, you know, kids games, very kind of creepy little aspect sort of it, but also kind of like just interesting. Like it all kind of ties together, at least for me, you know, like things when you were a kid seemed so much more simpler and easy, you know, and you didn't have to worry about money and all that stuff. And then now they're adults having to worry about money playing these kids games again.
Yeah.
And you can almost view the game itself as like a microcosm of the real world. You know, you got faceless men with guns telling you where to go and what to do, you know, how to do it, how to make your, you know, your money, or quote unquote, right?
Yeah, no, like that's definitely it. Like obviously, unless you're an absolute idiot, there are very, very obvious like social and like all those critiques in there, like critiques on like the current system, critiques on greed, on greedy people.
Social commentary.
Get that social commentary out of my movie, sir, please. I don't want to think when I watch media.
I don't want any politics in my films.
Yeah, which, unfortunately, there are definitely people who are going to be watching Squid Game and they're like, how could this possibly be political? Why? Wait a minute. Why are all the super rich people the bad guys? I don't get it. This possibly couldn't critique anything that I like. My goodness.
Yeah, definitely a lot of subtext, and they never like shove it in your face, though. Not really.
Yeah,
you know?
it's obvious, but at the same time, not obvious. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's never a scene where like the main character is like yelling like, "I hate rich people," and you're all assholes.
Yeah, but it's very obvious that like the mega rich and like shitty people like that are like the bad people. Like the bad people are like yeah, there are shitty people, but those people are also really shitty because of their circumstances. Like had they never been put into this game, none of those people would have done the things they did in that game. They're only doing it because they're just absolutely desperate.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely not a connection, but you know, it's like it's very, you know, similar to like or maybe it's like a critique of like the reality TV show experience. You know, people have to go on, you know, to compete, and it's basically is
oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, yeah, and kind of tying it back to what I was just saying, like literally, so Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said it best, where poverty is the mother of crime. Like none of these people, if they were like even like middle class, would be stuck in this situation. It's like it's literally just like the rich people like just preying on like these desperate people who have nothing.
To be fair, Ju-Won kind of screwed himself there though with all his shady business things.
Yeah, that's true.
Wasn't he like? Didn't he say he was like 6 billion won in debt or something?
Yeah, but that's only because like he foolishly bet all of his money on like this like stock market thing that was supposed to go through, and then it didn't, and now he has nothing, and he had to like mortgage his mother's like fish store.
Oh, and he's a criminal as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's plenty of themes and social commentary. For those of you who have an 8th grade education and are able to find it. Yeah, so basically, if you walked away from Squid Games thinking that, like, Jeff Bezos and rich people are your friend, maybe rewatch the series.
Yeah, definitely just a great show, like, just all the way through.
Yeah, great show, well acted, well directed, well shot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, definitely just very high quality. Did not seem like low budget, like Netflix movie or Netflix series, you know. Extremely high quality, like,
yeah,
you know, with the sets and everything. Yeah. The red light, green light scene, I think they used a lot of, I think they used like real blood squibs. Probably some also like some like, you know, 3D animated stuff, but it seemed like squib, like real squibs. So that's really cool. That's usually like a point of like, you know, like the Korean indie movies I've seen, the you know, realistic blood effects and whatnot.
Yeah, so that was all really cool. Like all the effects and everything. Well, there weren't a ton of effects in the show. Like it's all very, very simple stuff. Like yeah, there's squibs and there's like glass collapsing, which is obviously like CGI and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
although I wouldn't be surprised if that like glass bridge exploding scene was like practical, or at least partly.
Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was. But yeah, overall, I would say that this is definitely the best TV that I have watched in 2021, like bar none.
Yeah, I could probably say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's been a lot of good stuff that has come out TV-wise, show-wise this year, but like, just overall, this like blows everything out of the water. It's 9 minutes, less than 9 hours, because the episodes aren't obviously an hour each. But yeah, it's an amazing show. I'm excited for season 2. I'm sure season 2 is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I just want one last thing. I just want to say the pacing was also pretty perfect for the most part. You know, like I thought each episode would be like a whole game or something like that, but you know they space it out with the game so that you know you get lots of tension and build up before it. Really good build up there.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of worried about going into. Like I was worried it was literally just going to be like, 9 episodes, 9 games. And like each episode is going to be like 90% game, 10% everything else.
Yep, but no, it's got everything in there. It's got drama, it's got some comedy. It's got action, it's got, you know, horror, it's got suspense, it's got mystery.
Yeah. Yep, and it leaves you... the ending leaves you wanting more, but not in a disappointing way.
Yeah, you're excited for what... Yeah, you want to see more, yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's not like a Halo 2 cliffhanger. It's a very good, just like, end to the story. Like, it seemed like the way a good book would end.
Yeah, even though the final episode, you know, wraps it up pretty quickly with the game, you don't feel like you were like cheated, you know, or anything. You don't feel like your time was like cheated from you or with the show. Like okay, yeah, let's get the epilogue and wrap things up, you know, everything, because they probably could have just ended it like right there when like he put his credit card into the machine or something like that, maybe. But obviously they want to do more of this, so they continue the setup for the character for the next season.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, any other thoughts to add? We've done a pretty extensive deep dive into it, so.
No, yeah, just great writing, great, you know, acting from the actors, all this good stuff, you know. You know, I love like just the way the contestants have to, you know, they have to compete with each other, or they have to like, you know, make alliances and like, you know, work to solve things together. It's really cool. It's really interesting and just relatable, and it's written like realistically. Like this is like real people. This is like real happening, even though the entire scenario is very unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very, very well said and well acted. So until next time, this has been Kate from the Lore Council. Watch Squid Games, and I am signing off.
Yeah, and this is Keith, and we will see y'all later.